Hey everyone, it's Mike, the nootropic reviewer. I review nootropics and I talk about personal development. And during this video, I'm going to talk about 3 alternatives to modafinil. Stay tuned to the end of the video where I'm going to rate modafinil out of 10. We're going to go over their benefits, what makes them different to modafinil, what the appropriate dosages are, and some of the side effects you should be aware of. In case you're unfamiliar with modafinil, it is the gold standard of nootropics. It's the most talked about nootropic. I've made over 30 videos on it. It has a lot of benefits, from a heightened physical and mental awareness to faster processing speed to better memory, learning retention, to your ability to speed read. There really are so many benefits. Although you know the saying, what goes up must come down, and I'm a strong believer that the stronger the nootropic, the stronger the side effects are. In my opinion, nobody should be using modafinil every single day. If you have a stack with the modafinil in it, it is not sustainable. The first alternative to modafinil would be Adrafinil. What the benefits are that it's going to improve your processing speed, it's going to improve your memory, it's going to promote wakefulness, very similar to modafinil. The difference is that you need to dose it at a ratio of 3 to 1. So 3 Adrafinil to 1 modafinil. For example, 300 milligrams is somewhat equal to 100 milligrams reported by most users. It's been my experience that when you use Adrafinil at the beginning, it seems very similar to modafinil. You have the focus, you have the productivity, you are able to have a much bigger workload, you're able to work 8 to 10 hour days and really stay in state the whole day. However, what the really big difference is the irritability. And why I don't use Adrafinil is because you'll find that it's very hard to have conversations with people. You're just too stimulated. You're really just irritable. It's almost like it induces that state where you're just hungry. And I think most people can relate to that. When you're really hungry and you're in a conversation with somebody, you really just don't care what they're saying. You want food. And that's the feeling you have with Adrafinil somewhere about 6 to 8 hours after you're ingesting it. However, the first 3 to 5 hours, I would say you're very productive. You're able to efficiently task switch, which is something I notice on modafinil. It becomes very easy to switch from task to another task. For example, if you're in a meeting and then you have to go work on a project by your computer or like video edit, usually that stuff is very taxing and it takes time to completely disengage from one activity to the next. Although with modafinil and Adrafinil, you're just able to have these nice subtle transitions, and because of that, you're able to work for a lot more hours. And you'll find that with modafinil and Adrafinil, even towards the end of the day, you're just in essence more productive, your willpower is higher, and your focus is a lot better. So those are the benefits. The side effects, you can have it in the powder form. It doesn't taste too bad. Just have it with some water first thing in the morning if you do choose to try it out. Alternative number 2, and I'm taking this right now, is phenylpiracetam. I would say it's the most similar to modafinil because it induces the wakefulness and you're really just productive throughout the whole day. So what the benefits of phenylpiracetam are that you have the benefits of having the heightened mental and physical alertness. You do feel somewhat stimulated, which makes it a bit different than modafinil. Like I find with modafinil, I'm still able to do my meditation practice, which I do every single day. Although with phenylpiracetam, you'll find that your mind is just racing a little bit more. Although fortunately, it doesn't really race in bad ways. You won't find yourself thinking pessimistically. You'll find more so you're just turned on, you're stimulated, and you're thinking optimistically, and you're thinking very creatively. A big distinction I'd say between the two is that phenylpiracetam is very physically stimulating, whereas modafinil is more so mentally. I find that with phenylpiracetam, towards the end of the day, like 8 hours after my ingestion, I just need to go for a run, or I really just have to get out my energy somehow. I won't always go for a run, but it will typically look like me doing my work standing up. I don't have a stand-up desk, but I'll just be on my phone or even using my desktop standing up because I just have so much physical energy and it's very hard to contain. That's one reason it can be a very good tool for working out. I find that when I use phenylpiracetam pre-workout, I'm able to get more reps in, or if it's cardio, my aerobic capacity is up. You want to be mindful of this if you're doing something like high intensity interval training, as your heartbeat, it can get uncomfortably high when you're using phenylpiracetam. The dosage with phenylpiracetam, this is really hard to say because everybody seems to react differently. For me, I'm very responsive to modafinil, to phenylpiracetam, to pretty much all nootropics. I'm highly sensitive, you can say. I'm even sensitive to like half a cup of coffee. If I have 50 milligrams of caffeine, it will keep me up if I take it too late. So is with phenylpiracetam for me, I find it's something like 80 milligrams of phenylpiracetam is equivalent to 100 milligrams of modafinil in terms of the way that they stimulate you. However, a lot of people dose it differently. I'm somebody that just likes taking phenylpiracetam once in the morning, and then I won't take it throughout the day because it does keep me up. With respect to the side effects, I found that phenylpiracetam is more likely to keep me awake versus modafinil. When I take phenylpiracetam, I find it's hard to sleep until about 16 to 18 hours after my initial ingestion, even if I'm sleep deprived. Other side effects you should be aware of are withdrawals. A lot of people report feeling withdrawals and feeling low energy after consecutive days of using it. That being said though, phenylpiracetam is not something I would use every day. I'm using it maybe 2 to 3 times per week. I'm just using it on days when I have a more physically demanding day, or a day when I just want to shift my perspective, I want to get a lot done. I find that it really does help to boost productivity. It's not been my experience that I feel withdrawals, but I'm sure that if I did take it 3 to 4 days consecutively, then the following days I would feel a little bit of brain fog, I'd feel a little bit more tired, nothing too severe. And the third alternative would be caffeine and L-Theanine. I think most nootropic users are somewhat familiar with this nootropic. What caffeine and L-Theanine will do will help to promote wakefulness. It will stimulate you to some extent. And the L-Theanine is going to help you to minimize your anxiety, promote a state of relaxation and calmness, and overall you'll just be able to be more productive. Caffeine and L-Theanine, wow, there are so many benefits. If I were to talk about them all here, it would be a very long video. So in summary, caffeine, it will boost productivity, it will promote wakefulness, and you'll overall just have a very good mood. You feel more confident and optimistic. So the feeling is very similar when you're taking caffeine and L-Theanine in terms of your productivity, your focus, your concentration, and your mood. Although where it makes it different is that it does not last for a very long time. Most users of caffeine and L-Theanine report they feel like a well-oiled machine for about 1 to 3 hours, and then after that, unfortunately, you feel somewhat of a crash where you have that brain fog, you're not in the best state. So that's really where it is different. The only way you can make it somewhat similar to modafinil is if you strategically use caffeine and L-Theanine, something like at the beginning of the day and then early afternoon. And then if you're not so sensitive, you can take a dose later in the late afternoon, early evening to help you with your productivity. I found that I respond very well to caffeine and L-Theanine, so I'm using it every day in a ratio of 1 caffeine to 2 L-Theanine, like 100 milligrams of caffeine with 200 milligrams of L-Theanine. And people often ask me, Mike, can you combine caffeine and L-Theanine with modafinil? I can't answer that question. You'd have to speak with your GP. I can just talk about my personal experience. I'm very often combining the two. That being said, I'm usually using modafinil at a very small dose. I'm using modafinil maybe twice a week, and when I use it, it's a dose like 70 milligrams or maybe at max 120 milligrams, because that's enough to really get me stimulated. And then towards the end of the day, unfortunately, I feel those modafinil headaches. What I like about caffeine and L-Theanine is that it is naturally occurring, meaning it's relatively safe. I find there's nothing really wrong with taking it too often versus the other 3 nootropics that I've talked about on this video. And it's something found in green tea, which goes to show you that a lot of people are ingesting caffeine and L-Theanine and maybe not even knowing about it. Overall, I would rate modafinil 9 out of 10. There is no denying that it is a very powerful nootropic. It will boost your productivity. It will promote wakefulness. It will make you in a better mood, even if you're somewhat sleep deprived. Although, unfortunately, it has really bad side effects, so you want to be conscious of that. Most users report the modafinil headache, or some people just report feeling dumb, and I can relate to that. I've not found that modafinil will make you significantly smarter. It will just allow you to work on tasks in a faster and more efficient manner. For example, the ideal day when I use modafinil, the practical way that I use modafinil is I would plan the whole day before I get on modafinil. Because with modafinil, you'll find that you're very distractible. You'll find that you don't really have a good judgment of what your priorities are. So the ideal way is make your ideal schedule first and then take your modafinil afterwards. Although, of course, I'm not promoting it. I don't recommend it. Of course, speak to your GP about these things. I'm just here to educate your nootropic journey. And if you give it a like, comment below, it helps the YouTube algorithm. I'll look forward to seeing you all next time.